All right, there we go. All right, we live. So welcome to Liberation Minded Media. Of course, this is Jay Dizzle. And I wanted to address, I really had a different thing I was going to do as far as live is concerned. But I decided I wanted to address some things because, there's been a lot of topics that's been going down in regards to FBA, some of the latest haps. So I wanted to address the Yarl shooting and just give what the real position, because people are purposely trying to mix up or change the narrative from our response. And I want to just go over that a little bit. If you're not hip, if you are hip, then, hopefully I'm pretty sure I'll speak for more than just myself when I say these things. We're going to get into the Tariq Nasheed response to Ralph Yarl's family after the shooting. And then, surprisingly, we got Dr. Umar. Listen, it's gone too far with how some of these cats react and undermine our efforts when you have the Prince of Pan-Africanism addressing these tethers. I'm going to play this video that I just seen for the first time, and I actually got to applaud him. For real. I got to dap up Dr. Umar for his stance on what he was saying in regards to how some of these Africans respond to us and treat us. And if we get I also got to go into some of the trolling that's been happening on my Twitter. And it really only substantiates why a lot of us feel the way we feel. And if we have time, I'm gonna get into the Justin Pearson situation. But look, let's just start off with some good news. First of all, let's start it off with some good news. Check this out. So before we even start, because I don't want people to get it twisted, because I know that people are gonna try to twist up what I'm saying, just like they've tried to twist up what our response has been to why we took the cape off when it comes to trying to save or activate ourselves behind this particular shooting. And people try to make it seem and I'm gonna show you some receipts, they try to make it seem like we wished bad upon this little dude. That's not the case. But the good news is he is recovering. So 16-year-old Ralph Yarl has been released from the hospital and is recovering at home, his father confirms. And shout out to everybody that's watching. What's up, Jesse Harris? But this is important because understanding why we have to respond the way we're responding, and people trying to conflate that with hate when it's not that. I'm going to tell you something that I don't even know if a lot of people would want to admit, but I'm going to say it. We love our brothers from the diaspora. We love our brothers from the continent. We love y'all. We've been in love with y'all for over 100 years. That's a fact. And because of how much love we had and how much support and how much work we didn't put in over these years to connect us, it hurts us. It absolutely hurts us how some of y'all will act towards us and how some of y'all will show out in front of our enemies against us. And it don't just hurt us in our hearts and to our core, feeling wise. It hurts us in real tangible ways. It helps us in real political ways. It hurts us because the undermining is really just helping out those who really seek to destroy both of us. And that's the part that really is frustrating. The fact that we know y'all done came from parts of the world that have more resources per capita than anywhere else on the planet. I'm speaking Haiti, I'm speaking Jamaica, Dominican Republic, all over Africa. Y'all came from these spots where you should be wealthy, and you're not. Because of Western powers, white supremacy, that is milking the resources from your homeland and building up Europe and America with it. So you leave that situation to come here, not to build with us in too many cases. Because if it was just a one-off, we could say hey, Just some of them are like that, but not all of them. I tried to have that thinking for a minute. But at this point, you guys are like forming an army against us. And you're mobilizing this army all over social media against us. And took it to the point to where it's even past social media. Let's not forget, I shared the story a couple months ago about what happened in my hometown when the Ethiopian dude went and shot like 4 or 5 FBA brothers. And it wasn't just, oh, it's in Seattle, I'm from Seattle. No, this was like in an area where I frequented several times a week up until I left out of state. The Safeway where the shooting happened, I was there 3 times a week up until I left. And then when he gets caught, he says he doesn't like black people. So these sentiments that you're seeing online, they will actualize themselves at some point. And they do. So it ain't just like some one-off, like some, oh, they don't really represent. No, they do. They actually represent more than those who I know, because I know some brothers from the Caribbean, some brothers from the continent who are stand up brothers and sisters who understand what it means to have to work in collaboration. I know they exist. They're out there. I know this for a fact. But unfortunately, those who are representing disproportionately, especially those who get on the mainstream media, right? Especially those who are trolling online. And then we see the residual of that from what happened in Seattle. They're representing y'all. And if y'all ain't going to sit them down, if y'all ain't going to take the same approach that we take with the coons from our community as FBAs, if you ain't going to take the approach to call them out and sit them down and expose them, then we have to do it. And this is why I made that video a couple weeks ago talking about we want the smoke. So let's not get it twisted that we wanted something bad to happen to this young brother. We didn't want him to make it. That's not the case. We wished them well and all that. What we said is now y'all have to hold your own nuts. Based on the fact that it's not just like too many of these tethers. See, understand there's a difference between tethers and our immigrant brothers. Tethers are the ones that are comparable to what we would call coons. And because we seen the behavior of people from bless this little brother's heart's family that wanted to disassociate themselves from us and do zaddy worshiping and finger pointing at us and always want to undermine our efforts as we fight for justice, because it must make them feel some kind of way that they left and fled their homeland to come here because they didn't have what it takes to fight there. Let's just keep it a buck. But if you are going to come here, it seems like you would want to align yourselves with us, not with the dominant society that destroyed your homeland and destroyed us here. It don't make sense. So yeah, we said you got to hold your own nuts. Since you want to critique what we do as we activate ourselves and we push for reparations and other tangibles and justice here in the United States, which is the only reason y'all could come here in the first place. But since you want to do that, we're saying, okay, well then you guys fight your own battles then. Don't get caught up in these situations and expect us to run to the rescue, because we did that too many times. We did that in Dallas with that Botham Jean dude who turned around when after he was killed, his brother wants to hug the murderer and say, I love you, I don't want you to go to jail, and all that weird shit, which only emboldens the killers. So we got to play 3-dimensional chess. And that means if we have to pull back from you guys, let you fight your shit until you guys understand what time it is, and get down with the get down the way you're supposed to, because we would never go to your countries. We would never go to Ghana. We would never go to Haiti. We would never go to Jamaica, involve ourselves in your politics and undermine what you guys feel needs to be done. We would never do that. We would either support you or we just shut the fuck up. But we would never go to Ghana, sit up on a news channel and undermine you guys and tell you tell your whole nation that you don't need these justice and this economic stimulus that you guys are trying to go for. We would never do no bullshit like that. We wouldn't do that. We wouldn't troll you on social media talking about your efforts. We wouldn't go to South Africa where we see Julius Malema from the EFF, which I have a lot of respect for, tremendous respect for. You would never see me in South Africa going against what him and his organization and what the people on the ground are pushing for to better their lives. We wouldn't do that. So like I said, we love y'all. We do. Like, don't get it twisted. I know a lot of us won't admit that. Some of us probably won't even admit that to ourselves. But the fact is, we do. We always have. That's why Pan-Africanism took off in the first place. Because we loved y'all. That's why we lined up to go to Ethiopia when Mussolini was attacking and trying to colonize Ethiopia. Because we love y'all. And that's why it hurts that you guys stab us in the back. That's a fact. So we're happy to see this young brother pulling through. We never wished any harm on him. I'm gonna show you in a little bit, like some of the trolls, some of the things people were saying, and it's like, as Tariq would say, they're bad faith arguments, because it's like they try to make it seem like they don't understand what our point is. Our point isn't we hate y'all. Our point is, if y'all don't fuck with us, we can't fuck with you. You don't rock with us, we don't rock with you. Don't run to us for aid and assistance when it goes bad, when the things that we told you was a problem, when you were telling us racism don't really exist, nigga. That's what you was telling us. Too many of y'all. Well, you always just complain, nigga. All you have to do is comply and work harder. Yeah. But here's something that we understand, and this is why we would never wish harm upon y'all by our enemies, because we understand something that we need y'all to understand. And that's that these race soldiers do not discriminate between if you're from Haiti, Liberia, Nigeria, Michigan, Jamaica. They don't discriminate like that. This is what we're trying to get y'all to understand. They don't give a fuck about none of that. So as you guys go out of your way to distinguish yourselves from us, they ain't doing that except for just to use that as leverage to keep us at each other's throats. Or to program y'all to undermine us. That's how they play that game. And since we've been here for generations, since before this was called America, we understand how the game goes. So it's bad strategy for y'all to even try to tell us how to even engage in this fight. If anything, you should just be taking orders and just, shutting the fuck up, soaking up some game. You either get out the way or follow orders. That's it. That's all we need. Either get out the way and shut the fuck up or follow orders. We know what the fuck we're doing. Because if we didn't, y'all wouldn't even be able to be here right now. Y'all wouldn't even want to be here right now. How about that? I ain't trying to get too turned up. Shout out to everybody that's watching, man. Switchblade. B1 family. Let me see what he said. Even before I get into that, let me how we want to start this off, man. I want to show you guys let me show you this real quick before we move on. But this is the kind of shit that I'm talking about, though. This is the kind of hold up. I ain't even sharing the screen. Damn. My bad, y'all. My bad. Let me screen share something for you guys. This whole time I thought y'all was watching what I was, There we go. So anyway, this is the let's get back to this tweet. I'm sure I didn't see it. In case y'all didn't see it. This is just some good news that the young brother's doing good. Update: 16-year-old Ralph Yarl has been released from the hospital and is recovering at home. His father confirms, and we are happy to see that. Like, don't get it twisted. We didn't wish any bad, even though I'm going to show you some tweets later, some engagements that I've had on Twitter with some of these cats that act like they don't know. They act like we are out here pushing hatred or wishing harm upon them, and that's not the case, and they know that. So shout out. We glad that little homie's cool. We're glad he's all right. We would never rejoice or take any kind of be happy about his demise. That would be dumb, because that puts us all in danger. We understand that, and that's what we're trying to get y'all to understand. But now let me show you this real quick. This is why, in part, why we have to take the stance that we're taking. So this is a tweet from a known racist white supremacist named Charlie Kirk. And what he did is he put a tweet out there. I would show you on Twitter, but the person that I was engaging with blocked me after his trolling failed horribly. So I'm going to show you just, this is what started off. So this was a video that he posted. It was like, you're telling me Trump is the biggest threat to NYC. So this was like some dog whistling, not even really a dog whistle. So this was like something that happened in New York where some black people got into it and somebody got shot. And as a response, one of these non-FBA tethers, and we say tether because that's what he is. This is what he says. This is his tweet as a response, as he's trying to impress Zaddy with his self-hatredness and his hatred towards us. And when I read this, I already knew this dude ain't, you know what I'm saying? Where's your peoples from, man? I'm going to show you. But anyway, it goes like this. The level of violence in the black community makes me embarrassed to say I'm black. This is what he's saying. The left constantly turns a blind eye to the crap. So let me give you a statistic from the FBI. Now he's about to start quoting some fake FBI statistics, and I'm going to show you the real statistics. I'm actually going to let somebody else tell you those real statistics in a minute. He goes, black males make up about 6.5% of the population. So we make up about 13% is what they continue to say. So half of that's men, half of that's women. Yet commit 50% of all murders. That should tell you everything. So this is like a known long time statistic that these white supremacists throw out all the time. The only problem is that is straight bullshit. The numbers are correct, but they put words in there that shouldn't be there, because really what that should say is 50% of the arrest are black people. But arrests don't equal convictions. And 40% of those who have been falsely accused, 47%, are us. So in other words, those numbers are skewed, and they can make numbers look a certain way to look like it's the truth when it's not. I don't know if he's aware of this or not, and I'm going to show you something in a minute. So this is what he's saying. So basically what he did is he just started stumping for white supremacy, started reciting and regurgitating their false narratives, all to appease this known white supremacist who posted something to troll. And dude didn't even like give him a shout out. Like the white boy didn't even give him a shout out, like, yeah, good job, nigga. No, because he wasn't doing that for you, you fucking idiot. So now let me get to some of my response, because you're not going to be able to see his response. I would have to log into a different Twitter account. So this was my response when he said that goofy shit, right? I just let a white boy tell him, because I know he'd rather listen from a white boy. So check this out real quick. I want y'all to hear this. I want you to understand this, because that way you'll be able to rebut some of these false narratives. And sometimes you got, like my grandma used to say, when you need to fight a white man, you use another white man. Check this out.
Some of the stupid shit they say. I'm a skinhead looking white dude from the South, and while I've never been personally afflicted by racism, I do get to hear how these people really feel.
Can y'all hear that?
Like, seriously, when you look like me, racist white dudes just
become
an open book.
Let me start this all
Let's
over,
talk
y'all.
about some of the stupid shit they say. Racism, I do get to hear how these people really feel. Like, seriously, when you look like me, racist white dudes just become an open book. Let's talk about some of the stupid shit they say. So one of the most common justifications that I tend to hear for their ideology is the old 1350 argument. They kind of tend to view it as a silver bullet point. It goes a little something like, if black people account for 50% of all violent crimes committed, despite comprising only 13% of the population, then we're not over-policing black neighborhoods. Police are just there because they're the ones that are committing all the crimes. And the reason that that statistic is so misleading and easy to latch onto is because it's grounded in reality. They got the numbers right. They were just disingenuous about what the numbers represent. The 50% in that statistic is not actually representative of the number of violent crimes committed. It is representative of the number of people arrested under the suspicion of committing a violent crime. And it's kind of funny because with that knowledge in mind, you can now completely reverse their argument on them. If systemic racism doesn't exist within the police force, then how do you explain that 50% of all people arrested for violent crimes are black, despite the fact that they only comprise 13% of the population? Of course you're over-policing them. And since they just love to quote statistics and follow it up by saying math doesn't lie, there's actually a 1350 that proves the opposite point that most people don't know about. 47% of all people that are exonerated for crimes, which means that they find out that they were falsely accused of the crime later and it's legally recognized that they did not commit the crime, are black, despite the fact that they only comprise 13% of the population.
Listen to that again, y'all, because this is the point that I want y'all to make. When people start throwing out these false narratives.
Violent crimes are black, despite the fact that they...
Check this out. Listen to this one more time, y'all. Understand what he's saying here.
Of course you're over-policing them. And since they just love to quote statistics and follow it up by saying math doesn't lie, there's actually a 1350 that proves the opposite point that most people don't know about. 47% of all people that are exonerated for crimes, which means that they find out that they were falsely accused of the crime later and it's legally recognized that they did not commit the crime, are black, despite the fact that they only comprise 13%.
So 47% of those exonerated for crimes are black. 47%. That means of all the crimes that people are exonerated for, half of those exonerations goes to us. Which means, of course, we're being over-policed. Of course, we're being overcharged. Of course, we're being charged without evidence. And if 47% is what they're reporting, imagine what would be if we had adequate defense. Because a lot of times we don't. So when you see cats do goofy shit like this, hold up, where's that at? Oh, there it was. So when we see cats that will do this, right? And the shame is where's that at, man? Oh yeah, there it is. And the shame is that he would run to the aid to try to justify or co-sign a known white supremacist dude by first of all saying he's embarrassed to be black. But are you really black though? Are you black like us, or are you black like a tether? Because when you go to his profile, which I can't now because he blocked me, but let me see if I can find it. He's from Zimbabwe. And like I said, I ain't got no problem with, you know what I'm saying, Zimbabwe. I got respect for Zimbabwe because they got down for the crown when they needed to. Even though they dropped the ball because 95% of Zimbabwe is black, but they still have parts of South Africa, which is right next to Zimbabwe, where they allow white folks to establish communities that they can't even go to. So yeah, he blocked me. Roland Martin blocked me too. So yeah. So these are the kind of narratives that they continue to use. There's all kinds of narratives that they use against us. Let me tell you another narrative that they use against us. Matter of fact, I'll show you something. Let me show you something. It's actually on my channel. This is going to be a shameless plug. right? But I'm gonna show you another narrative, something that I broke down years ago when I was being interviewed for a local channel out here. Let me show you guys something real quick. Let's see. Maybe I can't get to it, but I'll just tell you what it is. So this whole black on black crime thing that they always throw at us, right? They love to do this, especially like when we are protesting or uprising against police terrorism, is what it is. Well, what about Chicago? What about the black on black crime? Well, look, man, we do know that, you know, we do have to get some things in order in our own house. But the reason why that is a moot point is because there's no such thing as black on black crime, unless there's also a such thing as white on white crime, because white on white crime is at the same level, same percentages. So a lot of times what these guys will say, they'll say, well, you have a better chance of being killed by a black person than by a white person or police. That's true. I'll give you that. That is a fact. But white people are usually killed by white people. Asian people are usually killed by Asian people. Hispanic people are usually killed by Hispanic people because of environment. And typically when murders and stuff go down, it's people that people know or deal with. So if there's no such thing as white on white crime or Asian on Asian crime or Hispanic on Hispanic crime, there's no such thing as black on black crime. Well, let's get into, let's see here. So what happened is on Twitter, right? When Tariq put out a tweet and I started responding to it in regards to not putting the cape on in this particular instance, a lot of people, let me share this, we can find it. A lot of people were acting like they didn't understand. Matter of fact, this is exactly what I said. Now, this was under the Tariq Nasheed tweet. And my response was this: that is sad. However, until they show solidarity with us, we shouldn't run to their defense. Also, we'd be stronger if they didn't collectively undermine us by denying our legitimate struggle against white supremacy every chance they get. Now, when it hits home, they want our assistance. Let me show you some of the responses, because there was quite a bit. You know, my Twitter ain't really popping like that, but there was a lot of people who had different things to say. So look at this dude. He's like, fascinating. The fact that you don't see how disgusting your thoughts are as you articulate them here is more troubling than any problem you brought up. Then he follows me later for some reason, whatever. And of course, you know, I got smoke from them back, right? Let me see what else we got. Somebody said that I was worse than a white supremacist. Now imagine that. From me saying, hey, it's sad what happened, but we're not going to back him. We're not going to back this situation because we need to basically show some tough love and let these cats understand that, nah, if you ain't rocking with us, we can't rock with you. Like who does that? Like, we've reached out the olive branch for 100 years. Think about that. Pan-Africanism has been a thing for over 100 years. And only now that we're starting to pull back are they trying to jump on and say like, hey, well, what are you doing? This whole time they was telling us, you ain't really African. You ain't like us, nigga. We're not the same, Akata. This is the kind of shit that they were saying this whole damn time. And now we're saying, okay, cool, we ain't the same, you're right. So we're going to tribe up. Since y'all want to tribe up and you're not really black, you're Jamaican. You're not really black, you're Nigerian. You're not really black, you're Haitian. You're not really black, you're Dominican. You're not really black, you're from Ghana. You're not really black, you're from wherever you're from. We're saying, cool then, cool. So we're going to establish our own niche and tribe up ourselves. Now all of a sudden, we're the ones that's being divisive. Make it make sense. Now, the thing is, we understand now we have to play political chess. And you either have to get down and ride with us, or we just ain't fucking with y'all. Because it becomes detrimental when we allow y'all to undermine us. When you run to Zaddy's defense like you did on that post that I just showed y'all. I'm embarrassed to be black. Look at 50% of the murders. These are not even factual statistics. But they'll use those just to undermine us. And what does it do when they undermine us by using these false statistics? It justifies any time we are murdered by the police. It makes state-sponsored murder against us justified because we're wild animals committing 50% of the murders. So it don't even matter if they're doing it deliberately or if they just don't know better, because the effect is the same. Period. So we're standing on what we're standing on now. So here we go. Look at this. Wait, so the full black boy, us, I'm pretty sure they meant is to blame for someone his auntie, not even his mother, is dating. He doesn't deserve our support because his aunt is dating a white man. That's not even the case. We're not even saying he doesn't deserve the support, him as an individual. What we're saying is because of the anti-black sentiments that has been perpetuated by his family on social media, and because this is something that we see too often from these tethers, what we're saying is, okay, if this is how you feel about us, and we've been telling y'all, this is what we're going through, this is what you're going to go through, this is the system that we live in, and you've been telling us that we're wrong and we just complain too much. So now when it hits home, then, okay, cool. Y'all handle that. That's all we're saying. Because you told us that, you know, we're out of pocket and we're just too sensitive, and that racism don't really even exist. This is what y'all tell us too much. Too many times I've seen this. You just got to work harder. Your culture is just toxic. And they come from places like, we ain't even going to go there. Don't even go there with the culture is toxic. Because what the hell did y'all flee from to come here? And that's one of the things that this dude right here was saying. He tried to throw some Chicago. He sent me a clip of, you know, some rioting or something going on in Chicago. Oh, this is what you guys are about. Look at this. I'm like, yo, that must be paradise. If you came here from where you come from. Matter of fact, here we go. So, I did some trolling back, and I can't show you what he was saying because he was, but he even threw Zimbabwe under the bus. A shithole is what he's saying. He's saying this about his own country. So he fled there, but then he's going to come here and talk about the toxicity of black communities when he comes from a city that's 95% black, that he couldn't even cut it there. He couldn't even stand to live there. But he's going to come here to undermine us and make statements like he made, appeasing a white supremacist. So this is why we're saying what we're saying. It ain't out of hate. It might be out of pain, but it's really out of necessity. It's really out of deliberate strategic moves that we have to make them fall in line and to continue. Like I said, we need this conflict. We need this separation. We need it. We need to know who's who. Oh yeah, back to this. Oh yeah, shout out to Afro Elite, by the way. Afro Elite's channel is pretty dope. He gets down. Shout out to Afro Elite if you see this, man. I like your get down on the channel. You be going in. We need this black media. We need these voices. We need the support, and we need to be on the same page and have the proper narrative. So when we have these discussions, and it don't matter if people understand or not, it really don't. Because a lot of times it's not that. Hold up. A lot of times it's not that they don't understand. It's just that they want to troll. It's just that they deliberately want to misunderstand us to paint a particular narrative against us. That's really what it boils down to. And you know it gets, listen, you know it's bad when you see this right here. Let me show y'all something. I'm gonna get into Tariq's video in a minute. But let me show you this real quick.
Come to America, some of you, and ain't got no damn Pan-African consciousness.
Listen, this is Umar Johnson. He's the first to ride with Pan-Africans no matter what. And because he has a little rift with Tariq, you know, they got a little bit of tension between them. The fact that he's saying this means that much more. That means even he's getting fed up. And I've been seeing even more Pan-Africans. They're starting to get fed up. And I'm a Pan-African at heart. But I understand to truly be a Pan-African, I have to be a black nationalist first. Hence FBA. Meaning that we have to be about our own particular tribe, if you want to call it that. Our own nationality. As black Americans. That's what we are. We're born in America. We're black Americans. We're foundational black Americans. ADOS, whatever you want to say it. African American. I don't care. I don't mind that. But before we could truly be Pan-African, we have to have our own household solid first. Then we can link. But if they're not willing to link, and if they're not going to be on the same page. So this is Dr. Umar Johnson.
Better than me when everything you get is a result of the struggle that we have been through. Everything you get is the result of the struggle that we have been through, and you want to turn your nose up at us because the white man that gave you a refugee status card. Get your ass out my face. When you come to America and you speak Igbo or Yoruba, you speak Zulu, Swahili, you speak Akan, you don't speak no English, they don't help you find no class that teaches you English. They only care about the Hispanic kids, the Puerto Ricans and the Cubans. If you a black child in American public school and you don't speak English, they don't give a damn about you. They put you in special ed. They don't give a damn about you. They put you in special ed. And unfortunately, so many of our African immigrant parents come to America thinking they better than us. Come to America thinking they better than us. That when someone like Dr. Umar Johnson wants to come to the African community in America and say, let me train your parents on how to advocate for their kids, they run away from me and run to the damn white man. And run to the damn white man because he gave you refugee status. Because he gave you refugee status from a damn war that he started. When I try to help you, you run away from me and run to the white man because he gave you refugee status. And so now you think you've been blessed by God. The white man gave you refugee status in the United States. A refugee status that wouldn't even be necessary if the white man didn't start the war that you had to run away from in the first place. And then they tell you to stay away from black folks in America. So y'all get to America, start acting like y'all don't know who we are. But your damn kids is being special educated, miseducated, and black immigrant youth are one of the fastest growing prison populations in America. Black immigrant youth, black African immigrant youth are one of the fastest growing prison populations in America because you damn Africans come to America, some of you, and ain't got no damn Pan-African consciousness. Come to America and you ain't got no damn Pan-African consciousness. Thinking you better than me when everything you get is a result of the struggle that we have been through.
That's facts. And let me say this real quick. First of all, shout out to, who is this that made this message? Iron Will. Yes, we black Americans are a different race altogether. No disrespect to the African diaspora, but we're just built different. And it's a fact. We are a new people. Yes, we were here before colonialism, before this was called America. Yes, there was more that was brought here that we mixed with, all that kind of stuff. So we're just a whole different new people, and that's okay. And we are built different. And they know that, and we know that. That doesn't have to be a conflict, though. See, we never made that a conflict. Let's keep it a buck. I dated a Nigerian woman for years. 100% Nigerian. First generation. And it's a fact. Her parents weren't like disrespectful, but they were standoffish, right? But here's the cold part. Since they always talk about this culture, when they come here, they don't teach them the language. So when these new first, second generations come here, most of the times they don't speak the same tongue as their parents because their parents don't run that down to them. So for all that, we don't culture this and that. Look, after a few generations, y'all get washed to the point where we can't really tell the difference unless, we could tell the difference. But overall, without looking closely, it's more difficult. And if y'all ain't even keeping your own culture, you ain't even keeping your own language, you come here as Christians, no disrespect to anybody's religion. But let's not forget that the biggest white statue of Jesus in the world is in Nigeria. So you come here, you abandon your spirituality, you abandon your tongue, and then you talk about culture? Cut it out. And it confuses us because we're thinking, like, when we see y'all coming, we're thinking, we thought for so long that, okay, cool, now we got numbers. Now this political arena, we could really make some advancements because now we have more numbers. It's because that's what they did. That's what the Europeans did. That's why they let so many immigrants from Ireland and Scotland and Germany and Italy in. Because at first, the English Anglo-Saxons didn't fuck with anybody except for other Englishmen. They didn't see Irish as their brothers. They didn't see Italians as their brothers. They had to bring in reinforcements because our numbers were rivaling theirs. So they brought them in and deputized them all as white. They got on code to come against us. So when we were finally, let me put some music behind this real quick, man. I need that rhythm. So when we started doing what we had to do to make sure that our brothers and sisters can come from Africa and in Central America and the Caribbean, we thought, cool, now we got reinforcements. Now politically, we can hunker down and strategize and have better numbers to get things done. We didn't know that they would turn against us like that. And I'm gonna keep it a buck. There's a vetting system that goes into immigrants before they come here. All immigrants, not just the black ones. Where they don't just let anyone from Africa over. They typically will vet and screen them to make sure that they're of the coon class. That's why disproportionately there's so many tethers. I hate to say it, but it's a fact. They condition them before they get here. Oh, don't fuck with those niggas. Be careful of those niggas. They condition them like that before they get here. Like, do you imagine how strong we would be if the black immigrants that come here got on the same page with us, the same way the Irish and Italian and Germans and other white immigrants that came here got on code with the Anglo-Saxons? That would be a game changer. So since we can't force the issue, all we could do, since being all inclusive didn't work because that's not what they wanted. So now we're saying we're going to fall back. Because let's keep it a buck. It ain't like these immigrant classes helped us with anything that we've done. They wasn't there in that turn of rebellion. They wasn't there in the 20s and the 40s and the 60s, besides Marcus Garvey and a few others that were on code at that time. It wasn't an overwhelming majority of them that was helping us with our movements here in the 60s and the 90s, 2020s. None of that. So I hate to say it, but we don't really even need y'all. If you want to keep it a buck, we don't. We could use your assistance, but we don't need you is what we're saying. If you ain't going to be on code. But can you say that you don't need us? Can you say that you don't need us? I mean, we've literally fought wars in Africa on your behalf. Have y'all ever came over here to our assistance in the 400 years of enslavement that we went through? In the decades of Jim Crow, Reconstruction era, Civil Rights era. We just got to keep it real. So this is the tough love that we have to have. We have to make this separation so we can identify who's who and allow y'all to codify with us if you choose. And if you don't, we got to keep it pushing. We cannot wait. We can't sit back and continue to beg for y'all to be in solidarity with us if that's not what you want. We ain't going to do it. The denial is over with Pan-Africanists. So that's a fact. Don P 914. And this is what, unfortunately, something that, it took us a while to get to this point. And like I said, at heart, I'm a Pan-Africanist. At heart, I want all of us to be able to collaborate and work together because really, when you look at it globally, together, we're the majority of the planet. I mean, there's a lot of Asians from China and India. That's cool. But really, we're the majority of the planet. And if we were to codify properly, there is no way that a small minority, just think about this. How is it that a minority of less than 10% of the globe can control disproportionately the planet? See, that was what we were trying to combat with Pan-Africanism. But if everybody else wasn't getting it and they was working against us, and even worse, working on behalf of European interests, we better off on our own. And let me say this to Jesse Paris, man, who was running for mayor, has been running for mayor in Denver, Colorado. Don't stop. Don't stop. Continue to build. Continue to refine your approach and your strategy and your campaign. Continue to build with the grassroots, build with the churches, build with the black businesses. Keep refining your message. Build with grassroots organizations out there in Denver. Build strategically in a way where you could pick up blocks of voters and grassroots support. Push your message, because even if you don't make it to be the mayor, even in the next election, that's okay. Because the more you build, the more your platform gets recognized, because you have people that back it, even if you don't make it all the way. And if you're in Denver, you need to be supporting, because the grind don't stop. The grind don't stop. And we need to have grassroots, especially on a local level. We need to continue to have the representation. So with that said, I'm going to pivot to this real quick, man. Since we're talking politics, let me get to this real quick. Let's talk about this Justin Pearson situation. I want y'all to hear this real quick. Let me turn on the music, because this is important. It's important to understand how to identify And really, we've simplified how to identify who's with us and who's not with us. And it's very simple. The litmus test is this: tangibles, particularly reparations. What is your stance? If you can't give a solid, say it with your chest response to if you support reparations, we gotta let you go. Whoa, hold up. Are we still? Hold up real quick. Oh, there we go. All right, check this out, y'all. I don't know if y'all was able to hear this. I'm gonna rewind it. Let's bring it back. Like I said, we have to be able to identify like who's with us and who's not with us. And it should be too easy. And look, if people don't get it, because actually a homie sent me, often some of the homeboys, some of the day ones will send me different things to get my opinions on it, or just to see if I'm hip to it. So I know y'all heard about Representative Justin Pearson and what happened and all this, and how they're trying to shoehorn his credibility and present him to us as some type of black revolutionary, basically controlled opposition. And if you can't just tell by how he's talking, I'm not talking about the code switching or I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying the fact, what he stands on and what he don't stand on, and his fake performative acting that he does. If that's not enough to let you know that there's something wrong with this, that there's something up with this, then you really shouldn't be speaking on our behalf, for real. And when you see some of the people that support this dude, it should be a red flag. Like, if you can't, look, just listen to this. Just listen to this.
We never quit, even in a place like Tennessee. We'll see days of justice spring forth. If we never quit, we'll see the governor signing executive orders to expand universal background checks. If we never quit, we'll see a governor named Pilot demanding just legislation for red flag laws. If we never quit, I assure you we will win, because we'll always center the voices of the marginalized. We'll always center the voices of the poor. We'll always center queer folks.
Did you hear that? We'll always center queer folks. So you should know, look, man, you should know when they start talking that kind of language that there's some fugazi going on. We'll always center queer folks. Like he could speak well, right? He might say some things that make sense. That's cool. But overall, here's what we got to look at. Let's check this out. This is what's her name? Tesla. I forgot her name. But here's her, right? Hold up. What's her name? Let me get her name real quick. Just because she was pretty on point. What is her name? Anyway, let's just go ahead and play this. Now this is him when he's asked like what specifically he's going to do for us. And that's what I'm saying when it comes to people that say they represent us. One thing you'll notice about these plants, these shills, is that they'll never commit to anything specific for us. They'll commit to something for LGBT, trans, Jewish, any demographic but us. So here is her asking him, like, hey, what's your plan? What would you do for black people? Here's his response.
You got to talk about when you do for black folk, everybody does. You got to talk about when.
said you didn't, and then others said you did. Like, give us a quick rundown, specifically on Black people that you represent in your district.
Yeah, I am 100% pro-Black, and here's the reality that we got to talk about. When you do for Black folk, everybody does benefit.
Yeah, we know, but right? I'm gonna ask you.
Teslin Figaro, that's her name. Let's hear it one more time, y'all.
Represent in your district.
Yeah, I am 100% pro-Black, and here.
Okay, so he says he's 100% pro-Black. The question is, what are you gonna do?
Specifically on Black people that you represent in your district.
Yeah, I am 100% pro-Black, and here's the reality that we got to talk about. When you do for Black folk, everybody does benefit.
That's what you call a pivot. That's what you call dodging the question, a shifty answer. When you do for Black, everybody benefits. Okay, then say you're going to do reparations. Then, if everybody benefits, then you should be able to say with your chest that yes, I'm pushing for reparations for our people. I'm pushing for specific tangibles because we're going to give specific tangibles to Black people, and others will also benefit. Do it like that. Let's do the trickling down, starting with us one time. But of course, he ain't going to do that. Because you just heard him saying that, we're going to keep LGBT centered. We're going to deal with misogyny. We're going to deal with environmental racism. Listen, I'm all about, clean water and all that. We need that. That's cool. That's something that should be on anybody's platform, Jesse. Brother Jesse in Denver, hey, clean water, all that stuff is cool. That's good for everybody. Everybody can get on board with that. But when asked something specific for Black people, you better have an answer. And if you can't stand on that in 2023, we don't need you. Look, there's ways that you can articulate. We talk about code switch and all that. That's cool, whatever. I don't care about that. I care about the fake MLK shit he's trying to do. I care about the fact that he can't commit to saying tangibles for us. You could do all kinds of things for all kinds of people. I don't even care. But if there's nothing for us, what's the point? What is it doing for us? Why should we give you our vote and our energy and our resources? You want to help the handicap? I'm all for it. Cool. Okay, but what about us though? You want more equality for women? Cool. I'm with that. But since everyone else can get specific, tangibles, unadulterated, what about us?
Yeah, we know, but right. I'm going to ask you about the Black policy.
So I am. I got you.
You want to know about your policy?
My policies. Exactly.
What's
when you think about reparations, I'm 100% for reparations. I have been for a very long time. For cash, for credit, for check, for credit card.
See, now he's playing games though. See? Cash, credit, check, credit. Come on, let's stop playing. Because we can't take you serious because we understand what's going on here. You're playing games. You're capping right now.
For a trust fund. And I was on Bev Johnson, another member of the iHeartRadio.
So he did all that just to play games. Now he's going to pivot right away from that. Because he doesn't really have a serious platform or plan or sincere motives towards reparations. He don't. That's why he played all of Bitcoin, stocks, new Cadillacs, Harriet Tubman edition, Explorers, whatever. He's playing games.
Community in January, and I explained the reason why I'm for reparations isn't just because of the enslavement of Black people, because there are some people who say, well, you weren't enslaved, and then we have to walk through housing segregation, we got to walk through lynching, we got to walk through mass incarceration, which we're experiencing now. What about reparations for all of these harms that we have experienced all the way up to the present day?
Are you willing to put it on your website though, because it's not under your website on issues?
Yeah.
Are you?
So that right there lets you know that's not really part of his platform. He's saying this to appease the Breakfast Club, which he knows has a high percentage of Black listeners. But it's not really, because he shouldn't, you know what I'm saying? What do you mean, are you willing to put on your website? She shouldn't have to ask him a question like that. It should already be there. He shouldn't have to be prompted to even answer the question. He should be saying it outwardly. So it sounds good. And this is what we have to be able to distinguish what sounds good from what's real. It's too easy to get people on the bullshit. And that's why majority of people, they'll try to come at us. Those of us who understand what time it is. And now we're tightening up the bolts of our strategy. We're tightening up our game plan. We're focusing laser focused on what's necessary for us. Not out of hate or contempt for others. It's because it's owed to us. It's because it's necessary for us. It's vital for us. So we ain't got no time for the games.
I'm willing to do that. It is not the issue that people in District 86 are saying is number one for them. Because
see, look at that. He's basically trying to slither. It's not what's important. For real. Like what black people don't put reparations at the top of the list of things. You got niggas talking about we need jobs. We need education. We could do that. We don't need jobs if we have reparations. We can create them. We can pay for the best education. We can build our own institutions of education. We don't need free healthcare. We don't need housing programs. All those things could be established with the proper resources, and that's what reparations is about. It's about the fact that we haven't had the chance to hand down generational wealth like other people have. Not even home ownership, which is the number one way people build wealth and hand down wealth, is home ownership. We were cut out the game of being able to do that.
To the point that was made earlier, they're definitely concerned about safety. They're concerned about crime. A lot of my population is also elderly. And so you'll see on the website, aging justice. There's not enough money in Social Security to actually help elders
Social Security.
Live out the rest of their lives in a meaningful way. So policies that we're putting forward have to do with people being able to grow.
Look at this. Social Security. We're talking about black people here. You ask black people if they would rather have a revitalized Social Security or reparations. Iron Will said, this Justin J. Pearson dude is a fraud. He put an Angela Davis old afro and started preaching like a low budget MLK. That's a fact, because he's trying to tap in. There's a reason why he's doing these things, because he's trying to tap in to our subconscious reverence for certain people that come from our community, like MLK. Sometimes he'll go Barack Obama a little bit. He's trying to, he's trying to tap into our subconscious reverence towards those who put in work or those who are beloved, as he tap dances around issues and questions and gives it a little bit of lip service. Oh, I'm all for reparations. Yeah, I don't got it on my website, but maybe I'll put it there. But Social Security. These are the issues that the people really want. Like these guys will try to tell us what the issues are. We're telling them what we want, and he's telling us what we really want. The art of deception, y'all kids. Facts. And it's too late in the game to be able to identify these things. It's too late in the game. We have to be able to identify these things at this point. Thank God there's a new black media out there. Thank God we got Professor Black Truth and the Black Authority and Tariq and even Afro Elite and some of y'all that's on social media that's pushing the real shit. Thank God that we're able to now mobilize and be codified. And this has to continue to grow and be supported. It has to. Because 20 years ago, we couldn't do this. 20 years ago, we had to just take whatever they put in our face. We didn't have a check and balance system in real time that we could really go through. We didn't have the ability to pull receipts and pull paperwork. We do now. We have to take advantage of that. Yeah, Tesla Figaro or Tesla Figaro. Reparations still ain't on the website after this interview. See what I'm saying? This interview is like a week plus old. So it's not really in his heart. It's not really his agenda. I would never say that we should take any particular political party's side. I say we just go for what's in our best interest. I don't care who's offering it. I don't care if it's a Republican or a Democrat, who's ever offering it. If they're offering something that we feel like is sincere and that really could be obtained, and they're speaking to our better interest for real, and actually have a platform that represents what they're saying, not they're saying one thing, but their website and their whole platform is really based on something else. Not that they're saying something to us to appease us, but for real, they're pushing something else. We just can't fuck with it. Period. But we do have a lot of these shills coming down from the Democratic Party who we blindly give our allegiance to. And I'm not saying we should switch to Republicans. I'm saying we shouldn't really matter about any of those except for the issues. That has to be what we based our support on. Issues. Period. It can come from any side. Yeah, facts. He tried to pull that Kamala Harris bullshit. Let me see. There we go. And that's why I need you to keep pushing, bro. I need you to keep pushing, because even if you don't get in next time, the more momentum you build, the more you're going to make even those who do get further have to adopt and at least take from your platform. The more support you get, the more pressure it puts on everyone else to adopt some of your policies. And just build strategically. Build with the churches. No matter what your religious views are, build with them, because that's a big block and that's a lot of support of people who will go out and push your message. Build with the grassroots organizations, and don't just build with them by talking to them. Join them in some of the endeavors that they're doing that you think are important, because now you're building rapport and relationships. And listen, like, it's not required. Understand this, because ain't nobody coming after this Justin Pearson or whatever, because he ain't talking black and down and black power and fuck the cracker. We're not hating him on that. We understand it's politics. You got to be able to play the game. My brother's a deputy mayor up in Washington State. And maybe I should link y'all, Jesse, so maybe you can get some, you guys can chop up some strategies or whatever. But it ain't about like you have to be on the blackity black to the point to where, you know what I'm saying? As long as fundamentally what you're going after and what you're putting on your platform is beneficial, you don't have to talk like Malcolm X. You don't. That's not required. But what are you really trying to push on your agenda? And yes, brother, we need a B1 agenda. But realistically, we understand that you ain't just running to represent black folks if you're running for mayor of Denver. So you're going to have to be able to appeal to others, but you can do so in a strategic way that is comprehensively helping the whole community that you serve by issues that specific groups need. So you could have things like, okay, this right here is the black agenda. This is the stuff that's going to help specifically black people. But we also have this issue in the city, so this has to be addressed. Then we also have this going on. This has to be addressed, and put it all together. And you'll figure it out, because you're a smart brother. And this is also why we need to continue to develop our media apparatuses, so that we can adequately help out those who are running for different positions. Year of the exposure, reparations. See what else? I'm gonna close this out, y'all.
Old.
But let's see something else I want to play. I think I had another Jesse. Oh, here we go. Because this is just why, like, you know, say we gotta just call it bullshit, man. When you got niggas talking LGBT, Social Security, when asked about black people, that's a problem. When you got cats that's trying to cosplay as MLK, I know he's in the church, whatever, but come on, man, cut it out. If we can't see through this kind of stuff, we're gonna be doomed. I mean, that's just weird, if nothing else. That's just weird, if nothing else, right? Like it's like he went into a character. It's like he's auditioning for a movie in which he's gonna play MLK. But MLK had no problems speaking on reparations. He had no problem speaking on specific things for us. Look, them niggas don't even take him serious, man. Why the hell should we take him serious? You could look at the looks on these cats' face that they're like, man, we know this is cap. So anyway, let me just end it like this. Let me just say once again, just so nobody gets it twisted, we are happy that the young brother made it. But the position, we're still holding the line, though, that we cannot and will not cape for those who undermine us. We will not. And I'm not going to say it's worse. I'm not going to say it's better, but I'm going to have to say this, though, for real. The reason why it's so important that we call out and that we make this particular stance we're taking is because the difference between those immigrants who may look like us. See, when we're around white folks, we automatically have our guard up and we automatically know that we're not going to say certain things because we don't want to give them the sauce, and we automatically assume they don't have our best interests and will make them prove otherwise. So they can't really infiltrate what we're doing. And we expect them to be against our best interests, whether they are or not. Not every single white person is racist, bigot against whatever. But we're going to assume that they are, is the point. Because that's how we protect ourselves in our best interest. It's a whole different game when you have people that really do have the same best interest, but they're deliberately going against their best interest to appease those who have systematically destroyed both of us. So we have to neutralize them first. Any type of resistance always started with the self-cleansing first. You have to get the coon class out the way first, because they become the first line of defense for white supremacy. And they can sabotage us in a way that others can't. Because we'll invite them to the barbecue. We'll invite them to the picnic. We'll allow them to intermingle with us, assuming that they have the same interests as us. It's only recently that we have actually came to this conclusion that, okay, hold up. Why is it that there's a disproportionate number of those who come from black nations that come here and work against us? See, we have no problem calling out our own. We don't have no problem calling out the FBA coons. We have no problem with that. So why wouldn't we call out those who come from the diaspora or whatnot that are working against us, the same way we call out anybody else? But at this point, what we need, because I know there's some good brothers and sisters that are stand-up brothers and sisters from the Caribbean, from Africa. I know they exist. I know them personally. But we need y'all to get on your job. We can't have the situation like we have with the police, where there's some good police, but they ain't doing shit about the bad ones. Anyway, y'all, it's 11:11. I'm about to end this broadcast. I appreciate y'all for tapping in, supporting the program. Make sure you like, subscribe if you ain't already, all that good stuff. We'll get back at it another day. Peace.